All right, all right. Check one, check two. I would like to welcome you to another episode of The Foundation. Here on High Frequency Radio Network. I'm actually, YouTube, but I'm always rocking High Frequency Radio Network. Having issues with the bloggy blog, you know what I mean? The talky talk for a minute. So I guess until further notice, we up on here. And I should be checking, but I do check. I checked yesterday, the day before, and ain't nothing shaking. You mean? Nothing. So we on YouTube. Back at it again. We live, learning and doing the dance. Figured out the music dance. Today's episode is entitled How to Start a Private Trust. I know. It's crazy, right? Coming right out and saying it, getting to it. That's it. But first and foremost, my name is Sot L. Here on The Foundation. This is The Foundation, and we are high frequency. Where we understand incorrect information incorrectly applied can get you hurt. Correct information incorrectly applied can get you hurt. So as always, we are looking to correctly apply that correct information here at The Foundations. I want to start off by saying all thanks, honors, and praises due to the creator of the boundless universe. I want to big up and shout out my big brother, well, spiritual big brother, the uncle of the conscious community, in my opinion, Yusuf L, High Frequency Radio Network creator, SPC University, every day, all day. What up, Mello, in the chat? Yeah, I'm probably going to like this. But yeah, SPC University, if you want to do your secure party creditor dance, my man's been doing it forever and ever and still doing the dance. You know what I'm saying? Welcome to thefoundation.com. Make sure you sign up for that email list. We got them exclusive offers and content. We got a PDF section, stuff people were trying to sell. They were charging for it. We threw it up there for free. Education section. If you're just, getting into trust, trying to learn what the dance is, trying to do your dance. What is this? It's private trust, public. What's happening? Check out our education section at welcome to thefoundation.com. We got that dance. What do you call it? Foundation Trust Primer. It's some reading, but it's what I did to do my dance. I read a lot. So a lot of people ask me, where do I start? I'm just getting into this information, this private trust. I never even knew this type of stuff existed. Well, I kind of knew it existed because, wealthy people, but I never knew I would have access to the information. So start with that Foundation Trust Primer, over 18 hand-picked documents by yours truly. Definitely start out there. We also got the Foundation Trust series. It's video, audio, visual. Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. We got, I say, beginner, intermediate, and advanced. When getting into these private structures, and I'm not talking about, hypotheticals that I come up with in my mind. I'm talking about Supreme Court case citations, Black's Law Dictionary definitions. We don't do theory over here at the Foundation. So make sure you check out the Foundation Trust series. Also, if you're into the dance, I don't know how private you want to go, but welcome to thefoundation.com. We also got the Foundation Passport No Social, Part 1, how you get it. Part 2, how to use it. Shout out to Chris L for blessing us with that information, the entire audience. So make sure you check out the education section. You can find our Instagram, all that social dance at welcome to thefoundation.com. You can book a consultation, also make a donation, and that's welcome to thefoundation.com. Want to say peace to all the live listeners, all the live, wow. You know what I'm saying? Peace to all the, archive listeners, internet listeners, podcasts. I don't know how you check out the shows, the episodes. We try to make them readily available on multiple platforms. But however you checking out the show, peace to you. Definitely want to say peace to everyone investing in their private education here at the foundation. We got a lot of different ways for you to engage in your private education over here. And peace to anyone who's investing in their private education otherwise. You got public education. You got private education. Most people get public education and they think they're good. Like, okay, I'm done learning. I'm done. But, me personally, I don't care. I don't care. And you can feel how you want to feel. I don't care how many letters you have after your name. That's controlled knowledge. That's what they want you to know. That's what's available to the public. We understand. And if you understand what I'm talking about, we got deanships, professorships, and chairs. Who pays those people? Not the colleges and universities. Tell me I'm wrong. We got private information out here. And if you don't even understand what I just said, because really I was talking to someone who thought they knew what they was talking about, who went to college, got their master's or whatever. And I've had these conversations and they tough. But ultimately it is what it is. So, here at the foundation, we doing our dance. Not only do we have the episode that comes out every single week, we're juggling back and forth from the platforms what they're using, but we're really going to be settling here on YouTube. We got current events that pops off every week. We do one every week. We're going to probably do a couple every week because it's starting to go down. So tomorrow we will drop the current events. And it's on YouTube. So check out our YouTube, at Welcome to the Foundation. That's how you find us on YouTube. Also, we got the Foundation magazine, and please believe, we're 4 issues in as of January, and it's growing, and it's something that we never thought we'd be able to do. And to have this, this instrument, it allows us to hit so many different things. As a case in point, we're broadening our scope with regards to the Foundation magazine. Of course, we all talking about private, but privacy, right? And I'm talking digital, physical, all types of that stuff. So the 4th issue, this issue is the digital privacy issue. We're getting into DNS, cell phone, Bluetooth, all of that, and how to protect yourself. And I'm not going on theory. We don't do theory here at the foundation. Verifiable, substantiatable. Otherwise, it's movable. We keep it moving. So we got the Foundation magazine going down. You can check a link in the description for everything I'm talking about. And finally, here in 2024, not only do we have the magazine, not only do we have our private portal for membership. We call it the private side of the Welcome to the Foundation. But we also have the automated training on the private side. So you get access to the portal, sign up for the training. It's the most inexpensive training for trust administration that's ever been offered by the foundation. And yes, as of this month, man, it's been 8 years, hasn't it? 8 or 9. I'm lost. It's been 8 years as of this month. I think it's the technical foundation anniversary is January 6th or something. But that would be, what was that, 2017. But 2016, I was on the other show for a year as a co-host before, we started the foundation over here. So it's 8 years, happy anniversary. Congratulations to the foundation. 8 years strong, baby. So we have the trustee training. Automated is the most affordable. There's a new lesson added every 60 days. Every 60 days guaranteed. And that's just, to me, that's amazing. It's amazing. I never really envisioned that there'd be a way so that we can reach so many people and help educate so many people with regards to private trust administration and do it so affordably. I never envisioned it. It's shout out to technology, you know what I'm saying? So we got that going on. Check the links in the description, trustee training, private portal access, as well as the foundation magazine, if that's your dance. If it's not your dance, cool. Appreciate you. You know what I mean? No hard feelings. So with that being said, I want to jump into the episode, how to start a private trust. And first, before I jump, just lay it out, right? Obviously, I got to get into some things, right? First and foremost, I can't give legal advice. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an attorney. This is for educational, informational purposes. Some people would say entertainment. That's on you. But I'm not a lawyer. I can't give legal advice to talk about me. So when I say how to start a private trust, I'm talking about me. You talk about you. But I want to make it unequivocally clear. No legal advice. What do you call it? Any type of legal advice. Any type of advice. I don't give advice. We all about education over here at the foundation. So with that being said, and you do your dance, what is it? Financial advice. No, we don't do that either. So as far as, that goes, structural advice, tax advice, definitely don't give tax advice. Not qualified. I'm not qualified. I apologize, but I'm not qualified. I'm not qualified to give tax advice. You understand what I mean? Hey, I'm just keeping it real. I ain't got a lot to kick it. You understand? So, as far as how to start a trust goes, let me start with this first and foremost, right? So what that would be, right? Ultimately, we gotta talk about the difference between public and private. And everybody speaks on this differently, and I'm not gonna, just stick on this thing for hours and hours. I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. This entire dance is gonna be short and sweet, you understand? But it's gonna be raw daddy. It's gonna be one, it's gonna be one of them dances that don't nobody want to dance afterwards, like it's over. And this is my my promise to you. So, but first we got to talk about this, right? And it is difficult, because but beyond the what, there's a how, and beyond the how is the why. And look, I know I just said that and maybe sounded slick. It didn't sound slick. It sounded really herbish. You understand what I'm saying? Like a herb. But the reality of it is the why. Like, why do you want to start a trust? I had to ask myself that, because I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about me. I can't give you any advice. You understand what I'm saying? Why do you want to start a trust, a private trust? Well, first reason is I came to the understanding that there's many different types of trust. There's over 80 different types of trust. And those trusts can be separated into two distinct categories, right? And those distinct categories would be those that are created by virtue of a statute within any state, excuse me, and those that are created under the private right to contract, the unlimited right to contract. And most people would be like, what are you talking about, fam? What? My man's tripping. He's off that thing. He's got a tin hat. He thinks, certain controversial concepts to be true. And that, that's not the case. Because I'm the type of person that really, really investigates. So when I did my investigation, I came to this conclusion. This is what I'm saying. There are two distinct categories of trust, private and public. Public basically means that it's either created by or is governed by state statutory law. I think that's as simple as I can say it. And not to say that y'all are simple, but to say that, I'm simple. So I got to say it's simple. You know what I mean? I'm not the smartest guy out here. But outside of that, the Internal Revenue Service, from my understanding, not giving legal advice, the Internal Revenue Service recognizes 3 different types of trust. Do your own research, man. I'm crazy. I lost my mind 10 years ago. Been looking for it the whole time. If you see it, let me know. I'm going to go get it. Tell my mind I've been looking for it. I'm out of my mind. Don't believe a word I say. Don't. I could be sitting here crazy, all types of crazy, and not to be disrespectful to people who have mental illness, because I don't take that as a joke. But my point is I'm some dude on the internet, man, just talking, yo. At the end of the day, I'm just some dude on the internet talking. So do your own research, man. I'm not giving you legal advice. I'm not telling you what you can and cannot do. I'm telling you how. You do your dance. Free will out here. Natural law. And even when I tell you how, like, you, hopefully by the end of me telling you how, you will understand that it's not just as simple as how. But back to the why. Why? Why do you want to start a trust? And most people get into taxes and all this stuff, and I don't do that dance. Why? Because on the deeper side, when you understand that the Internal Revenue Service recognizes 3 different types of trust, and I'm crazy, don't believe me, do your research, check it out. Go to the IRS website and you check it out, because I'm crazy doing on the internet is saying that the IRS only recognizes 3 different types of trust. Goes by the name of Sot. Everybody calls him Sot mostly, though. He said there's 3 different types of trusts: simple, grantor, and complex. This is what the IRS understands. Simple, grantor, and complex. Please understand. Please understand. The whole entire point of a private trust, or anyone who has the impetus to set up a private trust, the whole entire point is to not have that trust fall under grantor trust laws. Because grantor trust laws, technically a grantor trust is not, it's a statutory trust. It protects from probate, but not from litigation. I'm crazy. What do I know? Did I go to law school? I did not. He over here using lawyer words. He think he's a lawyer. No, I don't think I'm a lawyer. I know I'm not a lawyer. But I also know that a statutory trust, what is known as a living trust, what is known as a grantor trust, is what is also known as an alter ego when it comes to litigation. So if the grantor of the trust is sued, then anything that the trust, this statutory, this public trust owns, you know, people thinking they protecting their assets and stuff, and then they go to court and they be upset. They be upset. And then they say, I will never mess with a trust again. Why? It was statutory, baby. It was a statutory trust, and it was governed by state statutory law, regardless of who drew up your trust instrument. Doesn't matter. What type of guru he was, where he was from, if he was a diplomat, if he had his status correct. It doesn't matter. It matters what it says. What does the contract say? The indenture, what does it say? That's what matters. I've seen some crazy indentures. So thank you, man. I appreciate you offering this training. Thanks for, man, I love that I'm in this training. I've been trying to, I've heard it, right? And then they've said, I got to trust. And I paid triple the price for actual trust that I'm paying for this actual education. And I'm like, yeah, I heard that before. And then they send me the trust. I'm like, you want to look at it? I'm like, sure. They send me the trust, and it is, I've seen some crazy private trust, man, from these so-called gurus. And I don't say no names, man, because I'm a martial artist, man, and I ain't got time. Martial artists know I ain't got time. Anyone who knows martial arts knows they ain't got time. The highest form of martial art is avoiding conflict, man. So I ain't got nothing to say about nobody. Y'all know who y'all are. Y'all know y'all longevity was stunted. Y'all know who y'all are. And everybody else know who y'all are. Me personally, I keep it 100. Why? Because I ain't got time. But I've seen some crazy trust indentures. And I called, man, this one time, I had to call the sister. I was like, who is, and I said the name. And she was like, oh, that's the brother that helped me set up the trust. And I'm like, this brother has more powers and control over this structure than you do. She said, what? I said, yeah. I had to point it out to her. And I'm gonna tell you what, if you look at your trust indenture, if you mess with a guru, and people freak out, it's simple, right? And you mess with a guru and you did your dance with a guru and whatnot, and you got this faulty trust indenture, skinny guy trust indenture, don't use it. It's as simple as that. Don't use it. You gotta find something different. Because if you use that structure, anyone who has alleged or true power with regards to that trust can exercise it if it is functioning. Don't use it. But back to what I'm saying. Why? Why do you want to start a trust? And if it has anything to do with taxes, that's on you, man. Handle that. And I've noticed that most people who come through the training here at the foundation, trustee training, and the main thing on their mind is taxes, man, they don't do too well. They don't stick around too long. But in order to start a private trust, you need to understand what a private trust is. And in order to understand what a private trust is, you need to understand the distinctions between a private trust and a non-private trust. What is that? That's a statutory trust. How is that? Because there's a line in there that this contract and indenture will be governed under the laws of blank, the state of blank. That's why. Point blank and period. I'm crazy. I lost my mind 10 years ago. I'm telling y'all, don't believe what I'm saying. Do your own research. I don't care if a guru wrote it. I don't care if the most private monk from on top of the mountain wrote it for you. And he was, over there meditating and was talking to all types of beings. And he came up with this trust indenture. If it says this contract and or indenture will be governed under the laws of the state of, you're done, son. It's a state statutory trust. It's not going to go the way you think it's going to go. Whether there's an IRS internal revenue audit, which more than likely is going to come from the state level. Or there's some sort of litigation. They try to sue you and you be like, oh, I don't own that. It's in trust. Okay, good luck with that. 3 different types of trust: grantor, simple, complex. I'm crazy. Do your research. But the most important thing is there's a private trust and there's a public trust. What's the distinction? I just said it. The private trust is governed by the contract and indenture, which actually is created by a grantor who really ultimately creates the law. Not only that governs the trust, but also how the trust is to be administered. Hands down, I'm crazy. Do your research. Going to guy on the internet talking about how to start a private trust. You believe me? Do your own research. That's all I'm saying. So now that you understand the distinctions between a public trust and a private trust, what's the benefits? The benefits are what I just said. It is governed by the private contract. One of the biggest benefits that I will tell you is that, you got the Internal Revenue Code. Understand what I'm saying? And then you have, state statutes. And state statutes are going to govern the operation and administration of the actual all entities. You know what I mean? And a lot of times that governance is retroactive. And what I'm saying is they will retroactively determine, the state will determine whether or not these actions that were taken in the past fall under, what would be considered, in my opinion, but in actuality, the lawful way to operate a state statutory trust with regards to that state and how they do it. Whereas a private trust, there's none of that. There's no governance with regards to state statutes, and there's no governance with regards to the Internal Revenue Service. I'm crazy though. Don't listen to me. Do your own research. And I keep saying that I'm trying to make a point. And if anyone says, oh, that guy Sot L, it's really Sot L, that guy Sot L, he's the one who told me, and you play this recording, it's going to have multiple times where I'm saying that I'm crazy, which speaks to my competency. Because it's not about, oh, he said it. It's about, do you know it? Because I'm not going to be in the bank with you. I'm not going to be standing there in the room or sitting at the table when you're talking to the Internal Revenue Service. I'm not going to be there with you. I'm not going to be at the county recorder with you. And that's my thing. We do education. Dang instruments and instrumentalities, mere instrumentalities. I'm more interested in your knowledge, the knowledge of the wielder of these instruments versus what the instruments can do. And I think everyone is looking at this backwards, but that's my personal opinion. And as I said, say it with me, I'm probably crazy. Because neither do I think nor act like most people around me. I'm different. And I'm not saying that in some egotistical way. But I know what I read, and I understand and read English. And I understand, read, and comprehend legalese. But I could be crazy is all I'm trying to tell you. But it's governed by the contract and indenture. What the contract says in it is an expense, then it's an expense. And that's the biggest thing I can say right now. Like on public air. And it like will hit your mind and bounce off. And it'll hit your mind and bounce off. What do you mean? And nah, that doesn't mean what I think it means. And you go back to what? The public dance. Because the private dance isn't too hard. You just don't know the moves, man. And most of us, we got to a certain age where we don't like to mess up, especially in front of public. So we ain't trying to look embarrassed and stuff. So most of us don't learn anything new. Most of us after 30 haven't sprinted. There's like some statistic. It was like over 60, 70%. I can't remember the exact number. But over 60-something% of Americans will never sprint after 30. You know what sprinting is, running real fast. I missed that one. But it's real. So when it comes to the distinctions, we got public and private. Public governed by state statute and Internal Revenue Code. Private governed by the contract indenture. A caveat. Crazy caveat, is that this all depends on the administration. Is there self-dealing? Is there commingling? That does not have anything to do with what it says in the contract. It has to do with what happens after the contract is executed. The indenture, the private indenture. And that's the biggest things people walk into. They got over 100 years of litigation and experience. The Internal Revenue Service. Multiple congressional investigations into trust abuse, and they got the antitrust law. Look it up. This is nothing new. You're not going to do anything that no one else has already thought of. Mess around and find out, really. That's really what happens. But it's all about the administration of the structure, the administration of the trust. How to start it? I'll tell you right now. We'll get to the good, so I got you. So you understand the difference between public and private structures. One's governed by statutory law. The other one's governed by the contract indenture. We need to understand the common law right to contract. The framers of the constitutions brought with them the English common law right to contract. They had to use that common law right to what? The Declaration of Independence and the Constitution for the United States, both of which are contracts. Well, I said the Declaration is probably more of an affidavit, and then the Constitution is definitely a trust indenture. But without the English, British, whatever, common law right to contract, they be wilding out. That's where it came from, right? So, the people in America have the common law right to contract as well. Which, digress just a little bit. Involuntary slavery was made illegal, correct? That's only because private contract rights were recognized by all. Think what I'm saying. Because you can contract yourself into slavery. Many of us have. A lot of us are in slavery right now, contracted. No one put a gun to our head. It was an idea. It was a thought. It was a program, in my opinion. Do this, do that, then do this, then do that. Now what? I don't know. But you can contract into slavery. Please understand that. So the framers of the Constitution, common law right to contract is unlimited. Article 1, Section 10 of the United States Constitution states in part, I'm crazy, look it up. No state shall pass any law impairing the obligation of contracts. It means any state law that has been passed that impairs the obligation of a contract is null and void. I'm crazy. Go look it up. So what do you need? What do you need? How do you start a private trust? You need a private indenture. It's that simple. You can have, here, let me give you some more. There's what is known as the trust indenture, right? What is known is the original. You may have one or several copies of the original. I'm gonna give you some game right now. Because without the, without the game, what you know? I'm gonna give you some game right now. You have the original, which should be several copies. Typically, generally, there are several copies of the original, which are equivalent to the original if the original is lost. And that's why y'all be sending y'all your birth certificates at the state level and to the federal level. But, I'm going to keep it moving. Then you should have some sort of abstract. Y'all heard of abstract of trust? Abstract of trust is basically the public side, and they can only really deal in abstracts. But I'm not going to jump into that rabbit hole, y'all. But ultimately, an abstract of trust on the equivalent, I like equivalence, but it's not really equivalent, but it helps people transition into this information. I like equivalent. So the equivalent of an abstract, a trust abstract on the public side will be a short form trust indenture on the private side. All the necessary information that would be required by, for example, a banking institution to recognize this, this trust will be included in the short form trust indenture. The necessary powers endowed to the trustees from the original contract will be included, and all the necessaries, and this is the same thing with the trust abstract. I'm crazy. Go look it up, but you need a trust indenture. You need a trust indenture. I'm gonna tell you the truth. Boom. You just created a private trust. But let's say you figure this out, because there's some specific language that's required, the specific language that's been aggregated, cultivated, tested over the years. And to be clear, I don't think it's difficult to figure out how to form the paperwork necessary to substantiate a trust and say in front of the bank. I don't think that's difficult. But, let's say you figure it out. How do you enforce the contract? How do you enforce the contract? These are questions that you're going to need to know. I'm telling you. Write these down if you need to. I don't know. Save this, download it, whatever dance you do. And I'm not playing, but I might be crazy. So do your own research. But how do you enforce the contract? What law? What jurisprudence? If it's not falling under statutory jurisdiction, how do you enforce the contract? How do you protect the trust from pillage, from any, person moving against the trust, breaching the trust, violating the trust? How do you acquire redress? What statutory, what jurisdiction? What jurisdiction is the charge, the motion? What? The action brought? What jurisdiction? How do you do that? How do you reach that jurisdiction? I'm saying, you understand what I'm saying? I don't think it's difficult to create a private trust. I think it's difficult without proper education to know how to enforce the contract? How do you obtain an employee identification number? I mean, look, in the case of a business trust, a family trust, whatever, whatever. And I'm dead serious. You're not in business unless you have a bank account. Not in the United States. How do you obtain the EIN? How do you open a bank account without personal liability? Yeah, we figured out how to do the short form and the abstract, and the bank recognized it, and it was crazy, and you had the adrenaline and stuff, and it was cool, and you feel like you got this big ass win. Excuse my language. And I'm not saying this to be facetious or pejorative. I'm saying this because this is what I deal with every day. And people call me when it's too late or when the stuff has already happened and stuff. They already did it, and then they want to call me. So like some of my frustration I take out on the public. In the private, I'm cool. I'm clean. You know what I'm saying? That's like at home is my best. Outside in the public is my worst. And a lot of people are reversed with that, but that's cool. To each their own. I respect free will. How do you obtain an EIN? How do you open a bank account without personal liability? How do you enforce that? How is that enforced? How do you title a vehicle in a private trust? You know how to do that? You don't stumble through that? How do you title personal property? How do you title real estate? Look, and then let's say you do it, right? Is it protected? How do you enforce the contract? How is the trust not set aside in a legal proceeding, in a statutory proceeding? How? And you'd be like, oh, the state, they're animals. They're corrupt. They didn't recognize my trust. Yo, there's probably something, and I've read a lot of Supreme Court case is with regard to trusts. And I'm telling you, let me tell you something straight up, because I could be crazy, right? You're not going to see a statutory trust case in the Supreme Court. Why? Because the Supreme Court does not have jurisdiction over statutory trusts. I'm going to say that again. The Supreme Court does not have jurisdiction over state created or state controlled trusts. Separation of powers, judicial versus legislative. You follow what I'm saying? So if you're reading a Supreme Court case, about trust, please believe it's a private trust, fam. Please believe it's a private trust. Hands down. Understand that there's, what is it? What do they call it? What did they say? You fail to state a cause for relief, which relief can be granted, or they don't have jurisdiction. They'll remand it back to the state courts because it's a statutory trust. How are you going to enforce the trust? How are you going to make sure that after you pass away, that trust remains intact? It doesn't get broken up by the state in a probate case. How do you know? How can you be sure? I'm going to tell you this. I studied the wealthy families for over 10 years as to how they do their dance. And I'm going to tell you, it's difficult because you don't really see a Rockefeller or Goldwater in the courts, in the Supreme Court case, because they know how to administer their structures. They know how to get people in the administrative of the trust who know what they're doing, who understand self-dealing, who understand commingling, who understand jurisdiction, who understand enforcement, who understand venue. And it's, of course, these trusts are private, but through misadministration, you will see many, many cases in the Supreme Courts as well as in the state courts. That those were definitely private trusts, but they were administered properly, which means the trustees, the agents appointed on behalf of the trustees, We're ignorant to true trust administration, true private trust administration, in contradistinction of public statutory trust administration. Of course, they both typically are in a fiduciary capacity. They both typically have enormous control over the trust through the board of trustees specifically. And both trust, public and private, are legal persons. They can do everything an individual can do. Own property, own bank accounts, own treasury bills, own stocks, Bitcoin, real estate, paper planes. You know what I'm saying? Like, a trust can do everything that you can do and more. So how do you start a private trust? With a trust indenture. You got a long form, you got a short form. In the public, you have the trust indenture, you have the trust abstract. Do your research. I'm probably crazy. But whether I'm crazy or not, I don't think I'm wrong. I don't think I'm incorrect. You're going to need an EIN to open a bank account, to do business, to pay and be paid. The trust will need a bank account. The trust will not need an EIN to title vehicles or assets. You do not need an EIN to title vehicles, real estate. If your guru told you did, you don't. You need a trust indenture, you need an EIN. It's that simple. But you need knowledge. You need the education that goes along with the powerful instrument. Because let me hand you a samurai sword. You get to messing with that. You can cut your own head off, man. Let me hand you some C4 explosives. And you're not properly trained. Let me put you behind the wheel of a big rig truck, and I didn't teach you how to drive it. I've seen some of the coolest dudes in some of the most expensive cars flip around and flip, and tear the car up. Because they lack the education and experience to properly wield that instrument. And if you think a trust is an instrument, it's not an instrument, you should think again. Turn on the financial news. These financial instruments, they're calling them financial instruments all the time. You got financial instruments. So they're making a distinction between the group of instruments, making that distinction being financial. Do you not presume that there are other instruments? One of the main things they call a trust indenture is a trust instrument. Instrumentalities can do the dance. It's really who's holding it. What are you doing? What do you know? I give you a sword, you cut yourself. I give that man a sword, and he does a demonstration that has everybody going, ooh, ah, ooh, instead of ooh, call an ambulance. It's a big difference. Same instrument. Different performance, different result, different cause, different effect. Now, some people want to get into the trust, and most people want to avoid taxes. They want to protect their assets, and there is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing inherently un-American about that. I can show you Supreme Court cases where a Supreme Court judge said it is not even in an American's patriotic duty to increase one's taxes. I can show you where a Supreme Court case said that. Then you can look it up and do your research and make sure this crazy dude didn't make this with Adobe Photoshop. Because you never know. It is 2024. And as this stuff gets more and more serious, I'm feeling like, why not? I'm feeling like getting back to my old days where I used to say all the time that I am, quote, pancaking toes, end quote. Making it hard for these gurus to charge for anything outside of true, proper educational services. I don't need nothing, man. This dude, if I brought my car to the dealership and he showed me how to change the oil filter housing gasket and what tools to use, do you think I would go back to the dealership when I needed to change my oil filter housing gasket? And then they say, oh, for your safety, you can't come back here where they're doing the work. Because what did they say? Insurance. Yeah, insurance that y'all stay in business and I'll learn this skill. It's all about the skills. It's all about what you know. Short form. You can do a Google search right now for a short form trust indenture. And it will come up. What are the amendments? What are the terms within the indenture? I bet you money. Number one is going to be governed by state statute. And people are like, okay, cool. It's not governed by state statute. Then what is it governed by? And how do you articulate that in the trust indenture? You have to have a mentor. You have to be trained. You have to get education, whether it's private or public. You have to get education. You can get on the internet and get a trust indenture right now. There's YouTube videos out there right now for free that show you how to get an employer identification number. I understand. And I know most people deal with a lot of fear. First thing you think of, all these people went to jail. A lot of people in the federal. Yeah. There's a lot of people messing with trust in federal prison. Straight up. State prison, federal prison, all of it. Yes. And do you think that they were educated or uneducated with regards to the administration of a private structure? Arm's length. Clean hands. Fiduciary capacity. 100%. No breach of fiduciary duty. Excuse me. There's a lot of trustees that aren't in jail or federal prison and never have and never will see it. Hands down. It's the choice. And, the public has taught us to, be, to have some sort of aversion to choice. How do I do this? Tell me what it feels safer, but it's not. It's not. You really need to get into private trust. You really need to learn what this stuff is. If you're looking to be successful, if you own anything, if your parents are going to leave you anything, you know what I'm saying? Because these people, I'm telling you, the World Economic Forum, they say you will own nothing and be happy. You got the forever renters coming. Check out the current events from last week on the YouTube. Forever renters, they talking about it. They getting people primed for it. They, tenderizing your mental to get used to the term forever renter, the phrase forever renter. To me, it's a war. It's an economic war. It is a psyop war. There's a lot of psychological operations going on. And, people would be like, and I'd be like, well, okay, well, maybe I'm crazy. So just leave it at that. Because if I say that, the people who don't want to hear it, then you don't have to take it seriously. I gave you an out. Probate will, yeah, man, absolutely. Yeah, Don, I am currently, right now, about to fly out in like a few weeks, currently right now, assisting a client / friend of mine through probate. Man, his parents were young. It was a crazy situation how they passed. It was out of this blue. You never know. You never know. And my thing was, you put a puzzle together, right? You just finish it and then your little brother comes and breaks it. I don't care about the puzzle. Like, I really invested all that time into, to putting that puzzle together. Imagine how you feel if it was your wealth that was intended to go to your heirs, intended to go to your daughters, your little baby sister, your nieces, your nephews, your sons, your grandchildren. It was intended to go there, but it didn't go there. And I know there's an energy connection. There has to be, right? Because it takes you energy to acquire whatever you acquire, whether you acquire through the exchange of Federal Reserve notes or doing favors or hugs and kisses or whatever. It takes energy to acquire that. And everything that we possess, everything that we paid for represents a certain part of our energy, right? It represents a certain amount of our time, our life on this planet that we will never get back. So I think there's some sort of energy connection, right, to your wealth. And, I'm not trying to have any, what do you call them? Loose ends. So I know about private trust. I've done years and years and years and years of extensive research. I've had many, many people look at me and straight up ask me, or I can see it in their eyes, where did you learn this? Where did you learn this? I've seen it. I've seen the results. But it's hard work. And really the hard work, people say it's hard work, man. I don't know. Reading isn't that hard. What is hard is taking the time to read. What is difficult is actually walking into the bank with your short form trust indenture and your EIN and sitting down and going through the process of opening a trust checking account. And you did not get this trust indenture from a lawyer. You printed it off from your printer. You took it to a notary. The notary notarized your signature. You obtained an EIN from the Internal Revenue Service, whether it's from the IRS.gov or you called them up or you filled out the form and sent it to them. Either way, it's legitimate. And you walk into a bank with paperwork that came from your printer, a short form that came from your printer, and you're sitting down in the desk and they're going through the computer and you can't see the screen and they're not saying too much, just asking the company, the usual questions they ask. No one showed you how to do this. Your father, your mother, the cool uncle that used to play ball with you. No one showed you how to do this. You in there by yourself. And people start to think, right? Oh man, I got my children. I got this. I got that. I got my pets and stuff. I can't go to the Fed. I can't go to the Fed. It's not that serious. It's only that serious in your mind because you are ignorant, and ignorant isn't a bad thing. It's neutral. I like to find out when I'm ignorant because I can change that. I can become knowledgeable. All I got to do is do research. I got to figure it out. So how to start a private trust, man? Create a private trust indenture. Find an indenture, modify it so that it's private. What makes it private? That it is not governed by state statute. I'm going to give you a big hint, a huge hint, but I'm not going to give it to you. But I'm going to show you. And here's a big hint. It's called the Hague Convention, Hague, the Hague Convention on the Recognition of Trusts. The International Hague Convention, international, because the wealthy in the world did not want to create a structure or create a business, and have their business subject to every single country or state jurisdiction around the world. And contract makes the law. So the Hague Convention on the Recognition of Trusts. Several signatories, but a lot of parties, signed it. The United States included, UK, all over the world. I've had trustees in training all over the world. England, Canada, Australia. My man was in South Africa, South America. You know what I mean? Why? Because if you are in one of those Hague Convention on the Recognition of Trust countries, man, this private contract trust works. Yeah, man, it works. Now, of course, I'm not sure on how to get, the employee identification number or equivalent in your jurisdiction. Canada was weird. England was interesting, but we got it done. Why? Because it's legal. Because it's lawful. And unless look, let me tell you something. Tax evasion is illegal. And basically, this isn't legal advice. This is just, my opinion. I'm crazy. But basically, tax evasion is you operate in a certain manner, or you operate or administer a structure in a certain manner to where it incurs tax liability. And then you want to go back and pad expenses and create invoices and all these different things to make it look like, these are expenses and these, man, You should have just did it right in the first time. And a lot of people get burnt up that way. And they don't operate properly the first year. And they want to go do some tax evasion stuff, man. Just take the loss for the first year and do it right the second year. It's a good way to stay out of federal prison, fam. Or not. I'm crazy. Whatever. I don't know. Maybe it's just the gangster dance. Everybody going to prison now. Like, that's, who knows? Who knows? But it's not difficult. To start a private trust, it's difficult to protect the trust. It's difficult to grow the trust. It's difficult to administer the trust properly so it cannot be disregarded as an alter ego, be disregarded as a separate entity, be treated as a grantor trust, and thus taxed as so. Because ultimately, that's what everybody's trying to get away from. Individual taxes are hurting people. And as, inflation increases, as the monetary system continues to do its weirdo dances, nothing chuck a weirdo. People are going to get more and more desperate. Real estate isn't going, the price of real estate, it's befuddling investors and market researchers. They saying the bubble should have popped by now. I'm saying I don't think it is, because they don't want nobody to own anything. They don't want anybody to own property. The wealthy are buying up property all over the world. Do your research. I got it from a dream. It was a Palladian told me, and he said, wait. I'm crazy, man. Don't believe me is what I'm saying. Do your own research. But you got billionaires, Bill Gates, all these people buying up a bunch of land. They pushing local farmers out. A lot of investment companies are buying single family homes, have been buying single family homes for years. And they say, oh, hey, it's the market, it's da-da-da. But they say nothing about all of these homes are being bought above market value, above the listing price with cash. Because owning property and renting it to people is going to be the new dance, like extra dance. Why? Because I believe universal basic income is incoming, and it's going to be guaranteed money. People need to live, people need to eat, and people need clothes. Those three things ain't going nowhere. Food, clothing, and shelter. So I see the move coming. And, if you have your assets, you got your bank accounts, you got your, your retirement, all that titled in your legal name. Oh man, you are in a very dangerous position as far as I'm concerned, unless you have no thought towards legacy. And if that's the case, I respect it. But ultimately, y'all, it's not hard to start a private trust. It really isn't. The difficulty is administering it. So if you're interested in trustee training, we got the most affordable trustee training ever. It's the silver tier. Link in the description of this video. Working on getting that up on the website. You can email me at admin@welcometothefoundation.com. And we can discuss the other options for trustee training that, gets you more focused attention. There's even options that you get my private mobile number. You can call me whenever you want with whatever question. There's been times I've gotten on the phone with the banker. I've had trustees in training. They're looking to open up their trust checking account, and they went to a bank and it was going weird, and they called me, and I've said, hand the banker the phone, and this is something I do, but we have options. I don't think what's coming is good. Move through what's coming and in the coming years and so on and so forth, that I can feel good that I did my part to lessen the burden, to lessen the pain for some families, individuals that were listening, that had the ears to hear what I'm saying. Because I've been all over the world, and I was told about trust by a Jewish dude in the south of France on a yacht the size of an apartment building, and now I will leave it at that. So with that being said, that's how you start a private trust. As I said, you can Google short form trust indenture right now. I don't think the contracts and indentures should be covered the way they are. I think they should be, They should be spread out. I understand why the administration information is coveted, but I'm not the one to come into information that helps me remove burdens that were on top of me and my shoulders like a yoke my entire life, free myself, and then walk by other people, and act like it's cool. I just can't do it. So here we are, the foundation. That's how to start a private trust. You can email me, admin@welcometothefoundation.com, if you would like more information, you want to book a consultation, you want to talk to me personally. We can discuss your dance, figure out what you want to do, get a feel for my energy. Is he crazy? Let me talk to him as long as I can to see if he says some crazy stuff. Says some, tinfoil hat stuff. You know what I mean? I could be crazy. It's possible, but who knows? The world's crazy. I think compound interest is crazy. I think the price that you got to pay for water is crazy. I think that the fact that, energy costs keep increasing, even though there's all this damn technology, I think that's crazy. You understand what I'm saying? I think a lot of things crazy. That's why I'd be like, I might be crazy, because what I see is crazy. I see so much crazy stuff every day. People accept it as normal, but ultimately you run around with, the state structures, and you think it's you and you think they're yours. And I'm here to tell you that, it might not be what you think, and you should pull the thread, pull that thread, jump in that hole, do your research. Don't be listening to crazy people on the internet. My name is So L. Make sure you check out welcometothefoundation.com to learn more, get some more information. Email me, admin@welcometothefoundation.com. Go straight to me. You want more information with regards to the training and the different levels and tiers of training and levels of access and whatnot, support at welcometothefoundation.com. I do this every single week. Took some time off, but I am back. Learning this new YouTube dance. Y'all see I got music playing. Can y'all hear it? I hope y'all can hear it. I was proud of myself when I figured it out. Just, steady improvements. That's all it takes, y'all. Just steady little improvements. You ain't got to be big. The media will show you what someone built after 15 minutes, and then, they'll edit the interview to make it seem like my man got lucky or he did something that you can't. But that's not the truth. Little improvements as you go. But yes, we do teach private trust administration here at the foundation: business trust, asset trust, and family trust. We also have information on private family foundations. Think Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Clinton Foundation, Carnegie Foundation, Rockefeller Foundation, so on and so forth. The same type of structures. Me personally, I want to, do what the wealthy do. And I think, I found that one of the biggest things the wealthy do is they're not structured how most people are. And they're not using the same information. They know different things. What we call in what I like to call true knowledge. What we call in the field true knowledge. And what you learn in school is called controlled knowledge. And, public education has long been controlled by wealthy families and individuals. You do your research. There was a congressional investigation on the private foundations. See what they said. That's it for me. admin@welcometothefoundation.com. Still learning the YouTube. Thank you for sticking with it, brother. And I'll catch y'all next week. We got current events jumping off tomorrow. It will be premiering. I don't think it will be live, but we'll do that dance. I'm working on getting camera systems and stuff like that. I know a lot of people want to see my face. I've been on the internet radio for almost, for 8 years now. It's been 8 years. I got to do the math, right? And I know some of y'all see me because we do in-person events and stuff, but I'm not, I was in the public for years, man. And you can still find my stuff on YouTube. My stuff is still on YouTube from years ago when I was in music and stuff, but I ain't finna tell you how to find it. Because, that's old news. This is the new news. We out here teaching people. It's education, man. But yeah, getting the camera set up, figuring out how to do all this dance, man. You know, it's new to me. I come from audio, you know, music, not from video and production. You know what I'm saying? Music production, not video. You know, I was standing there and they would tell me what to do. So, you know, they put the makeup on me and they tell me what to do. But I'm learning this stuff, you know, and doing it in a way to where, you know, we really work to where there's there's as little dependence as possible over here. So with that being said, my name is Sot L. That's SOTL, Seeker of Truth L, Speaker of Truth L. This is the foundation. It has been a pleasure, absolute pleasure. As I said, admin at welcometothefoundation.com. We can take it from there. Otherwise, there's a link in the description to sign up for Silver Tier Trustee training. Y'all have a great day. Enjoy your weekend. Check out current events tomorrow. And please leave a comment, or I don't know, do your dance if you want more from the foundation. I probably do more shows talking about more stuff. I've had a lot of people say, you know, they want me to talk more about geopolitics and finance and, you know, kind of along the lines of a more expanded current events and stuff, but more personal. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. If you're interested, leave a comment, do your dance, email, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, subscribe, do your dance, moonwalk. Make sure you say 10 things that you're thankful for before you go to sleep tonight and every night. It'll change your life. And choose positivity. Because, you know, we don't have enough of the negative dance. Catch y'all next.